right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the ForeBros podcast. Again, just like the last episode, you have myself, Bryan, AJ in the house. Still missing Matty. He's out on vacation. Matty, we wish you well, brother. Got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of crazy things happening in the sports world. We're going to talk about some U.S. Open stuff. Going to talk about Hurston Waldrep made his second start for the Atlanta Braves. Going to talk about some other things. The segment has returned of Bryan is bothered, so we'll hit that later on. That should be a lot of fun. But we are so glad that all of you are tuned in, listening, and or watching. And thank you for all the support, all the likes, subscriptions, shares, all of it. We really, really appreciate it. The first thing we want to get into, something that just wrapped up today, was the U.S. Open. And oh my gosh, what a crazy, crazy tournament. It was wild. Bryson DeChambeau gets the win. Let me just preface by saying this. I predicted that he would win 2 episodes ago.
True story.
We know.
Shout out to my prediction. Bryson DeChambeau gets the win. Rory McIlroy, oh so close. That is his 4th time. He has come in 2nd place in a major championship. I think it's been somewhat close to almost a decade, maybe over a decade since he's won a major championship. It has been a long time. The man was clearly distraught after the loss and actually refused to give an interview because he would be upset. Rightfully so. I probably would have been too. But anyways, Bryson DeChambeau gets the win. Fellas, Andy, let me get your reaction on just the whole tournament itself. What'd you think about the whole thing?
Well, kind of not a surprise with him winning, but he did come out of nowhere. I thought my boy Brooks was going to hang in there after day 1 and get it together, but he sure did let me down. But hey, that's the name of the game at Pinehurst, dude. You got to have your joint together.
That was,
Yeah. No, Rory was my pick. And him, of course, me and Brandon battling on the back 9 here with our picks.
Yeah, even with the picks, man.
Dude, Rory, we talked about this a little bit before, but man, this was a primo example of, we catch heat about no gimmies. Man, this tournament literally was lost on putts inside of 5 feet. I mean, you have Rory sitting there with a 2-shot lead. I think he bogeyed 15, 17, and 18 or something like that. He bogeyed 3 of the last 4. And, man, those putts are putts that, us, if we were playing gimmies, you'd be picking those putts up all the time.
100%.
And, man, it's just heartbreaking. And, dude, to hear him say that he declined the interview, man, I've been frustrated with golf lately, but I haven't been playing for $4 million. And, Rory McIlroy, he's got money. It ain't about the money for him necessarily, but to be so close, he had it, man. He had it. Yeah. And it's not like Bryson. It's not like Bryson ripped off birdie to win. I mean, he parred the last 3 holes to win. Rory literally just kind of gave it away.
Yeah, well, and you look at Bryson's up and down on 18, was crazy up and down, hit it to like 4 feet to, make par there to win it. But, Rory bogeyed 3 of his last 4 holes. One of the craziest stats that I saw today was Rory was 496 out of 496 putts that were 3 feet and less. 100%, almost 500 consecutive putts, 3 feet or less, up until he missed that 3-foot putt. And that, and that's not just saying that like, oh, Rory just had a mental lapse there. That was how difficult that course was. Just, so I retract my previous statement of I could shoot under 100 after watching the rest of the round. And we did say that. Yeah, well, we did say that the course is going to get considerably tougher as the weekend went on. And it definitely did. I mean, for the winner to win and only shoot 6 under 4 rounds of play, that's insane.
Bryson,
the cut was at
Bryson shot 1 over today, right? Over. He shot 1 over and won the tournament.
Yeah, Rory finished it. He shot a 69 on his final round today, and then he shot. Bryson shot 1 over, shot 71. But again, the downfall for Rory there was just those last 4 holes. I mean, he went bogey, bogey, par, bogey. So
It's
it just
golf,
off the
man.
tee. Oh yeah, it's just golf. And I think, like, yes, I picked Bryson to win, but at the same time, once I saw Rory staying up there on the leaderboard, that thought kicked into my head of like, man, Rory hasn't won a major in a long time. Like, this place would go absolutely nuts if Rory pulls this off. And the place went nuts too for Bryson, because Bryson stayed engaged with the fans all weekend. That was something that, like, most golfers have never done. Most golfers that are competing for a major championship, they're locked in. They're not wanting to talk to anybody, nothing. This guy was like, he was signing autographs in the middle of the round today
Yeah.
on Sunday. It was
He said
insane.
when he received the trophy, he looked up in the stands. He kept pointing up there and thanking everybody. And he
Yeah.
said on the mic, he was like, "I want each of you to in some way touch this trophy tonight, because all of you played a part in it." Like, I mean, he's a man of the people, and they're
Yeah.
rallying around him. So I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
he
fun to
is.
watch.
Did you
I think
see him
this is
putting
also
sand in that thing at the end? Just
Did
filling it
he?
up with.
yeah, from his
Dude,
sand
so the
shot. I
shot,
think
Mhm.
so the second shot
Yeah,
on 18, did y'all
the
see it?
shot.
Did you see the
I
lie?
didn't see it.
I mean, this
it,
dude is like,
brutal.
he went left. You got like the grandstands to your left. He had a line to the green, but the ball was like up against a long root. And I mean, you could just see him. He backed off the ball 2 or 3 times. Probably took him 10 minutes to take the shot. And it looked like he finally was like, forget it, I'm just gonna swing. And he just hacked at it and
Yeah.
pushed it over there in that bunker. And then he hits an incredible shot and taps it in for par. But man, that second shot, he could have lost the tournament right there.
Oh
And he
yeah.
just got it to go over there in that bunker. He just made a nice shot on his third
How
one.
much
But
preparation you think went into that? Like, how much of that was? Remember, we talked about on the last episode a lot of luck. How much
yeah,
of that was luck? How much of that was skill? How do you really
yeah.
think?
I mean,
I don't
Bryson
know.
is probably one of those guys. I mean, I think they all practice some weird stuff, like
Yeah.
from time to time. I mean,
Yeah.
they spend time getting in weird lies and different things like that. But some of it you just can't replicate. And I mean, I think that was one of them where, because the way it was, if his swing path didn't follow that route, like he would have
Mm-hmm.
probably broken his club hitting that route. So you could see him trying to swing right down the route, but he wanted to make contact and draw it a little bit, but it just squirted out to the right and into the bunker. But man, like I said, it was a shot that literally could have won or lost him the tournament. He did what he had to do and then got up and down. I mean, just insane.
Yeah, but you think about too, it's like you're also talking about elite ball strikers, right?
Oh
So I mean,
yeah,
these guys
yeah,
are not
Definitely.
missing the center of the club face. If they
mm,
do, that's on accident. Like that, like
mm.
they don't mean to do that. Like, we're the exact opposite. If we hit the center of the club face, that was on accident. We didn't mean to do that. That
Celebration.
that was a yeah. That's like, whoa. That I didn't know that
That's what that
flush. What does
feels
that feel
like.
like? Yeah, like, wow, that was crazy. But
Yeah.
so again, but I think Pinehurst just showed how much of an elite ball striker you have to be
Mm,
in order
definitely.
Mm.
to have success at that course. So, man, shout out to Bryson. That was awesome to see him do that, and to see him win. Like you said, he was a man of the people this weekend, and so now it comes down to one more hoorah. We got the Open coming up, last major of the year, so we'll see. But it's just this that tournament, the U.S. Open, really exposed a lot of people as far as, like, you know, obviously Tiger didn't make the cut. I don't think Jordan Spieth had a
Mm-hmm.
round that was under par. Justin Thomas got cut. A lot of notable names got cut. Phil Mickelson got cut. Dustin Johnson got cut. A lot of big names didn't make the cut and or didn't even have a chance if they did make the cut. But I also think too, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first major that a live player has won since the
Brooks.
separation. Oh
Brooks
no,
Brooks
has
Brooks. Never
one.
mind.
won.
Never
Yeah.
mind.
What did he win last? He won one last year, right?
He won the
Mm,
PGA Championship. That's right.
Yeah,
PGA
Brooks won
Championship.
one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Never mind. Never mind.
How about them nose, boy?
Mm.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too. So another crazy sports thing going on. College World Series, baseball College World Series is happening right now. Hasn't happened in the history of the College World Series. The first 3 games of the opening round ended in 3 walk-offs. And then the fourth game was a 1-run game, and we'll get into that in a minute. But so Florida State struggled in the first game. Well, they didn't really struggle. I'll be honest with you. Andy, I'll let you talk about this, but because you are a Florida State guy, I thought they got robbed in the first game. But let's talk about Florida State. They are 1-1 now, and they're looking to move on. So, what's your thoughts on Florida State in the College World Series so far?
Kind of the same thing I came up with or said when we did our picks, man. Bullpen, the bullpen, the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
We could score runs with anybody, but like I said, that bullpen, they're just so inexperienced and I don't want to say lack of talent, but I think it's just an experience thing. But yeah, that game come down to what, 12-11 in the bottom of the ninth, which should have been called. I honestly feel like that was a called third strike, and the umpires kind of let it slide there. But we redeemed ourselves.
Let me ask a question because I didn't watch it. Is that reviewable or not? They didn't review that, right?
Not reviewable.
It's not reviewable.
It's
not reviewable. But
so it's not reviewable.
Had it been caught, so it was 11-9 at that point. Tennessee had runners on, first and second, 2 outs, and this was in the top of the ninth or
bottom.
Bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the ninth, and the batter had 2 strikes. Check swing clearly goes past the plate. It was clearly a swing.
Yeah.
They appealed down to third base. Third base umpire says no. Had that been a strike, that would have been the ball game. Florida State wins 11-9. It was game over. However, it doesn't happen. Next pitch or maybe 2 pitches later, hits a base hit up the middle, scores both the runs.
Straight up the middle.
Yeah, tied ball game. And then like a batter later or 2 batters later, Florida State calls in a new pitcher. Guy throws 1 pitch, home run, game over. So it was, so it was just it sucked. But Florida State's one of those teams, man. They're so good offensively that they'll hang around. But like to AJ's point, that bullpen, once they get kind of deep in games, and you kind of saw it in the game today against Virginia. They got hot, hit a lot of home runs, and they got deep into that ball game. And all of a sudden, Virginia started climbing their way back just because that bullpen just started going down again. So we'll see. They're 1-1. I don't know who they play next. If they play the winner of,
they will play the winner of North Carolina and Tennessee.
Loser.
And it looks like
that game is the middle of the 8th. Tennessee's up 5-1.
They'll play the loser, though, right?
Loser. Yeah, they'll probably play the loser of that game.
Yeah, loser. I'm sorry. What did I say? Winner?
Yeah, you said winner. But they'll most likely play the winner of that game.
Keep it straight.
Loser of that game. Sorry. They'll play the
loser. We all doing it. Hey, I know. We're used to winning around here.
That's right. And keeping with the College World Series, though, Florida, my team, I'm starting now root for them. And look, I start rooting for them, and then they lost. They lost Texas A&M late game. I think that game got pushed back like 2 or 3 hours. First pitch didn't drop till like 11:15 Saturday night, and the game didn't end till like 2:15 Sunday morning. It was a really good game. Texas A&M was just hitting everything that Florida's pitchers were throwing, and but in Florida was also swinging at every pitch that Texas A&M was throwing. Texas A&M in that game set a record for most strikeouts against the team in the College World Series. They broke the record at 12 or 13, and they ended up with 15 or 16. Like they kept going. And it wasn't. I would love to see a stat, because when it comes to those things, like when dissecting a game of baseball, like if I was Kevin O'Sullivan, coach of the Gators, the first thing that I would be asking one of my stat guys was, how many pitches did we swing at that were out of the zone? Because, dude, it had to have been way into the double digits. I mean, our guys were just swinging at anything, and they were watching pitches right down the plate and then swinging everything out of the zone. And we finally crawled back to get it 3-2, and then in the top of the ninth, we had a runner on first with 1 out, and our leadoff batter, Cade Curlin, comes up and hits an opposite field bomb, and it was going to be a 2-run home run. The right fielder robbed it. It was such a great play, and It was, but then we had our best hitter come up, Jack Caglione. He comes up, I think he gets walked or gets a base hit or something, and then our 3-hole batter just strikes out, swings at 2 pitches that weren't even close to the strike zone, and they just struggled at the plate. So, but we get another shot. We play Monday. We play against NC State. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just shocked that Florida's even made it this far. So whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, with both of y'all's teams losing that first one, I believe it puts you in a position where you got to win 4 in a row to get to the final series, which is, I mean, that's tough in playing anybody, but definitely playing this caliber of teams. It's difficult, but I guess if I could add anything, and this is a debate for another day, but just commenting on it, the way that FSU lost, like at what point, if replay is going to be a part of sports, like at what point are we going to use it to get it right? I mean,
Yeah.
I understand, like you can't stop every single pitch, every single play, but man, well, is that not a critical moment where some official in a box, like watching it live, could look at that replay and say, just buzz down to the ump and be like, "No, man, he went ball game." Like it's that simple for me, because this is the way I look at it. And I played baseball. I'm somewhat of a traditionalist, but you lose me on this stuff because you brought replay into the equation. So let's don't limit it. If it can help us get it right, why would we not get it right? Because the way I look at it, Florida State won that game. Florida State won the game. You got proof that the kid's bat was beyond the plate. That's a swing. It's ball game. Now, obviously, that's not where we are, and that's not what happened. That's not reality. But that's my frustration with it, and we see it in other sports. We see it in other outcomes. I remember a high school football game just a couple of years ago that was ended on one of the worst calls I've ever seen by an official. I mean, this kid was down 3 yards before the goal line and ended up running in after he was tackled, and the dude threw up, and they couldn't replay it. Now, GHSA has fixed that, and there will be replay. There is replay now for them to replay certain plays to not let that ever happen again. But that's kind of my frustration with that. And I was pulling for Florida State. I thought they had a good chance to win it. And losing that first one, it puts you in that hole where you got to win 4 straight to even get to the series or to get to the finals. And they're UF and Florida State, man, they're up against it now, and it's gonna be tough to get there.
Well, isn't that the whole point of replays in all the sports that we started using it, is to eliminate the human error? Isn't that the reason? And in today's Florida State Virginia game, the umpire took a foul ball. It actually fouled off the bat, hit his knee, and then hit him under the chin right here. So that knocked, of course, that hit his chin, and then his helmet kind of come off. He was wearing the more of the catcher's the hockey style helmet. And then he has a camera on top. I'm talking about, my man is like, the count was probably 2 outs, two balls, 2 strikes. He stops the game to fix the camera on the top of his helmet. But we can't review a check swing. I mean, come on. What's the deal?
It's brutal, man.
And it wasn't like the check swing could have gone either way. I mean, it was clearly
he swung. It was a swing.
Clearly a swing. Like if you have an ounce of baseball IQ, like you could see that was clearly
my
a swing.
thing is, if you went to the third base umpire now and you sat him down in front of that video, what's he going to say? Is he going to look at that and say, "Oh no, that wasn't a swing"? No, he's not. It's a swing. And that's why it should be corrected. If replay is an option, you gotta get that right, man. It's just, I mean,
there's just a weird thing of why certain things are reviewable and some things aren't. I don't understand that, because you're seeing even in the farm system, like in single A, double A, triple A, like I don't think every league, but most of those leagues, they're even doing it on pitches now, where like they have the up on the board. Like if
Yep.
they want to argue a ball or strike, they just, hey, make the replay signal, and everybody looks up at the board, and they have what you see on TV, just the strike zone box, and
Mm-hmm.
it's done in 5 seconds. You're like, oh, all right,
Yep.
he got it right or he got it wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, at what point like kind of what you were saying, Brian, when do we open it up to do that? Will it make the game go a little longer? Yeah, that's why they only limit now college to 2 challenges a game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
Man,
something
there's
like
so
that where
much.
it's like,
There's so much money. There's so much technology in this stuff now. Like, you can't tell me that there can't be a crew, 2 or 3 guys sitting out there in a booth in Omaha reviewing every impactful play like that.
yeah,
And all you have to do in that moment, when he comes up and the catcher points down to check at third base, all the coach has to do is step out and say, something, challenge, flag, whatever they want to do. Hey, can we take a look? You go
yeah,
up top. I mean, anybody that saw the replay, it takes you what, 15 seconds to view the replay and to decide, oh man, that was a swing. I mean,
yeah.
we're not talking about 2, 3, 4 minutes. This was obvious. And I have no problem, like you said, I have no problem if you look at the replay and it's like, that one could go either way. I have no problem sticking with the call on the field. This was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not that play. This was
Not that.
Yeah.
No.
blatantly obvious. And man, honestly, at the end of the day, it could have cost FSU a College World Series.
Hey.
Yeah, because I've never want to be a guy that's like, I'm blaming the umpire, because I mean, you've had 7 innings or 9 innings to make it right, to not even put yourself in that situation. So you never blame. I've always been told, never let the umpire dictate the game, never let the
Mm-hmm.
umpire, the official, rule the game. But in that certain situation, you're up 2 runs, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and that play ends the game. That pitch ends the game. That's
Yes,
it. I mean,
that's my
so
point. That call ends the game. So I
yeah,
agree. All this stuff in between, you can't speculate about how it would or
yeah.
wouldn't impact. That call would have ended that game.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they say the statistic is that if a team that loses in the first round of the College World Series, your chances of winning the World Series drop down to 11%.
Yeah,
11%.
it's
That's
not
crazy,
good.
So
man. That's
yeah,
that's big time changes. Um,
yeah,
Speaking of, this is kind of getting off subject for a second, but I want to make this comment about not leaving it in the umpire's hands.
Mm-hmm.
We spent all day Saturday playing travel ball with
Mm-hmm.
the
mm,
second oldest son, and I saw so many kids out there, 16 years old, 17 years old, some of them probably even 18-year-olds. I'm talking about seniors in high school. Some of them probably already graduated. They can still play their summer, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
they're arguing with the umpires about balls and strikes. And I cannot stand this, man. I cannot. I can't
Yeah,
do it. Now,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. I've never officiated a high school game, but we've done a lot of rec ball games around here, and I'm not one to tolerate that stuff. And
yeah.
but that also, keeps me level headed with like the human error thing. But I feel like this is the College World Series. We should be using the replay. Let's start with it in this. Let's
Mm-hmm.
use it in this College World Series and see how we like it, and then we can move
Yeah,
on. But
yeah.
I mean, that
You
changed the
get,
whole series for the rest of the time.
oh
man,
yeah,
you got multiple angles. I mean, it's again, you don't have to speculate whether he swung or not. The dude swung.
Oh no, he swung.
100%, 100%, 100%. Yeah, trust me. I dabbled in the umpiring this year, just with 12,
Mm-hmm.
12U rec ball, and even those kids were arguing
I
every
can't.
ball,
I
every
can't.
strike,
Can't
and
stand it, man.
so I stayed pretty quiet this year. But I didn't really fly off the handle at all. But if I do it again next year, I have to tell the people that are in charge of hiring us umpires. Like, listen, I'm gonna say something this year because I ain't
Putting
gonna
you
let these
on
12-year-olds
notice.
walk all over me.
Putting
Yeah.
them on notice.
So that's right. So maybe we'll see replay coming or more replay coming to college and maybe even in the high school realm. Who knows? But
Mm.
stick with the baseball real quick. Want to walk into again, kind of talking about that hometown story again. Hurston Waldrep makes his second career start up in the
Mm-hmm.
big leagues for the Atlanta Braves, going against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Mm.
Kind of. Similar deal as the first start. I don't know, Brian, I'll let you kind of recap it and
Yeah.
talk to us about Hurston's second start against the Rays.
Yeah, so they did keep him up to make an additional start. From what I understand, again, and I do want to go ahead and say he has been optioned back to AAA.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I think some people will react to that and say, well, it's because of the two starts that he had. I don't think that's the case. I think the Braves
Mm-mm.
brought him up to intentionally lengthen out the rotation. I don't know if it was the schedule for that couple of weeks or if they had some injuries that they were trying to, or get some guys just a couple of extra days of rest. But I think this was probably calculated more than a reaction to his
Mm-hmm.
performance. But we did see a similar outing, 3.1 innings. He again gave up several earned runs and a grand slam, I believe he gave up in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
But Hurston, he's got all the tools. The kid has a better work ethic probably than half of the Major League Baseball players. I don't think anybody
Definitely.
should look at this as a demotion. I don't think anybody should look
Mm-hmm.
at it as a reaction to his performance. I think he's got to figure out how to get through the second and third turns through the lineup, um,
Mm-hmm.
or they may need to look at him more in a bullpen. I told AJ this earlier, and I could see down the road just the way Hurston pitches. I could see him getting more of a back end guy, being setup man
Mm-hmm.
closer. I mean, he's proven even with major league hitters that first time through the lineup, he's not very easy to see. So, a lot could happen. Super proud of him. Happy for his family. He got to pitch in Atlanta
At
this
home. At
afternoon
home. Mm-hmm.
at home. Man, I think he will make it back, and I think he'll make it back for good at some point. But even if he didn't, good gracious, man! I mean, what an incredible accomplishment! I mean, there's so few people that ever. I mean, I had that dream as a kid, and I had different obstacles and things that I went through, and man, looking back now, even as much success as I had, I was so far away from where he has reached and where Emerson has
Yeah.
reached. So
Yeah.
just so proud of those guys. Praying for them, continuing to root for them. I got a feeling he's going to go right on down to AAA and just start tearing them up again. And we'll probably see him back up in the show sooner than later. But proud of him, proud for him, and for his family.
Yeah. I think
Definitely.
even, just a couple, I mean, he pitched what I think 7 innings total
Yeah.
in his between the two games. But I think even for him, even that could be enough experience to where he can go back down to AAA. He's gotten a taste. He got a taste of a road game, got a taste of a home game. He
Mm-hmm.
kind of knows how the routine is up there. And so now it's all right. Now we get back to the drawing board. We grind and grind and grind and just kind of wait for that next opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
baseball is such a funny sport like that, man, where it's not like football. It's not like any of these other sports where in football, you may only get one shot of an opportunity and
That's
you could
right.
possibly, squander that. Or, like baseball, like kind of like we all agreed, this isn't the last of Hurston that we've seen in the major
He's
leagues. Like
22
he's
years
coming
old,
back.
man.
Yeah,
He's
he's coming
22.
22.
back.
He's
Yeah.
He'll be
he's
back.
got time.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time and in what I took away from both starts is just how his first like 2 innings in both of those games, he did fairly decent. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just taking him a little time to just kind of settle into that rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always that second time through the lineup where they've picked up on him pretty quickly. So
Yep.
if not to say that I know more than Hurston, but that's something I would be looking into. Is like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
now obviously they're picking something up. second time through the lineup, how do I change it up? How do I, and the Braves, man, they have so many good pitching coaches and people that he can tap into, and he'll be working on those things. But like Bryan said, I think he's going to go down to AAA, just tear it up, and he'll be back in no time. He'll be back in no time for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I think he spends a little time down there and gets his control issues worked out. He'll be back. Definitely be back. Guys,
yeah.
That splitter he's got is just disgusting.
Nasty. He's got big league stuff, man. He's got big.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he has big league stuff. He's just got to rein it in, and if they want him to continue to be a starter, he's got to figure out how to do it a couple times through the lineup. I mean, nowadays starters are used to. You expected your starter to go 7 innings, then you had a setup guy and a closer. And the bullpen guys were just if the starter had a bad day. Well, nowadays, man, you don't see starters going much beyond the 5th, 6th innings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty healthy start for them. So I think if he can get back down in AAA, get some lengthy starts, get into that 5th, 6th, 7th inning, really get conditioned to that. He'll be there, man. I can promise you, the Braves took him as their first round pick. They ain't giving up on him. I can promise you that.
No,
and they shouldn't.
no.
I mean, he's incredible, and I think he'll be back.
Yeah, certainly a lot of positives to pull away from both of those two starts, and nothing to hang his head about. And so, definitely not the last that we've seen of Hurston. So, well, transitioning, moving forward here, we're going to get into a segment. Bryan is geared up. The first one was an absolute heater. This segment is Bryan is bothered. Again, the first one was absolutely insane. The response that we got on all of our social medias, you guys just came out in droves talking about the ice shortage that is happening, not just in our town, but places all over. But Bryan has another addition to add to Bryan is bothered. I will again preface by saying Andy and I have no clue what he's fixing to say. So we are going to react live just like you are. So
can't wait to hear
Bryan,
this one.
Bryan, you are bothered, brother. So tell us what you're bothered by.
Boys, y'all better buckle up for this one. So I actually changed. I had what I was planning to do tonight until tonight. So by the time you're hearing it, you're hearing it on Monday.
This is hot off the press for you too.
Yeah, Sunday night. So we got a little weather moving through, and it reminded me of how bothered I am by people who believe that heat lightning is a real thing. Dude,
that is not.
This man said the word. This man said the word weather, and I already knew where he was going.
That is not.
Andy has lived this before, but I'm telling you, and he can vouch for me. This debate has been going on for years in our circle, dude. I am so passionate about this. I have read all the resources. I'm ready to go to battle. We can have a live caller on here. If you think heat lightning exists, come get you some. I promise you, you will not win this argument.
So
I'm telling you, man.
Heat lightning doesn't exist,
Brandon. Let me give it to you as simple as I can. No, it's not. Bryan, do you believe it doesn't exist? Let's throw aside what we believe. It does not exist. It doesn't. Whether you believe it or not, it's not real. So I remember as a kid, right? You're outside, you're playing, and it lightnings. And sure enough, it's just heat lightning. Well, Brandon, I want to ask you something since you're new to this argument. Have you ever seen cold lightning? I mean, what are we differentiating here? All lightning is hot. What you mean? That's heat lightning way off in the distance. No, you know what it is. Go ahead. I'm prepared.
No, hold that thought, Bryan. Let him talk.
Yeah. I'm playing devil's advocate here. So what you're telling me is, because clearly this is something that you two have been tense about for some years. Okay, so Andy clearly believes in heat lightning.
Not anymore. He don't.
To this point, I always just say it just to aggravate and get him riled up. But you know.
Okay, so let me try to understand this. So for those people who believe that heat lightning exists,
Mm-hmm.
what they see is heat lightning. It's not lightning that is hitting the ground. I don't know why I'm looking up. I'm in a room, but it's not like lightning hitting the ground. They just kind of see it amongst the clouds, and that's what they call heat lightning. But
Yeah.
what you're saying is there's no such thing as heat lightning. It's just lightning that's not hitting the ground.
It's lightning. No, it's just lightning that's off in the distance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just like, okay, you're looking off in the distance and you just see the clouds kind of light up. Oh, it's heat lightning. We don't have to worry about that. Drive 30 minutes over there to where the thunderstorm is and you'll worry about it.
So
I guess I'm saying from like being raised and like differentiating between, it's almost like heat lightning is treated as some safe form of lightning.
Okay.
No, it's just lightning that's off in the distance.
Okay. All right. I just did a quick Google search. Okay, while we're here, and I think this will
Read it.
pretty much put this quick argument to bed.
Read it.
For those people that are watching and listening. I simply Googled, is heat lightning a real thing?
Mm-hmm.
Enter. This is the first thing that pops up. Heat lightning is an unofficial term used to describe what people perceive as lightning produced without thunder. Heat lightning is just regular lightning caused by a distant thunderstorm whose light can be seen from reflections across great distances. So it's literally what Ryan said. So for all of you who think heat lightning exists, you're moron.
Do you know how many times I've been at a Carroll High School football? I'll say Carroll High School football game, and there will be weather in the distance, and I'm just sitting in the stands minding my business, and I hear
Look at that heat
people,
lightning, bro.
oh,
Look at that heat
it's just heat lightning, and I'm just sitting there boiling. I'm like, you do realize in 15 minutes when that storm gets from Cairo to Thomas County Central Stadium, it's going to be real lightning, like lightning that's setting off the detector that's running us out of this stadium. Lightning is lightning.
Real hot.
You don't have cold lightning and heat lightning. You don't have lightning is lightning. How you view it or how far away from it you are does not change its form. It's still lightning.
So where did the term heat lightning come from?
I guess from,
go ahead.
No, I from younger generations that like I guess it's older generations that are like, oh, it's hot outside, and it's I think it's more common like in the summer. You got to pop up.
Oh my God. Listen, I just Googled that. I said, where did the term heat lightning come from? It says the term heat lightning probably comes from the fact that the effect is most often seen on warm, humid nights during July and August.
Heat lightning, boy, it's hot.
You know how we have those little, you have those little pop-up storms. Man, it could be the stars could be out here and you see heat lightning off in the distance. It's just a storm, man.
It's just lightning that's coming this way.
It's just a storm in Bainbridge.
We just have one. Yeah, we just have one.
That's all it is.
So for those of you at the beginning of the football season, if you're in the Cairo area and you sit near Bryan's seats and you see a storm off in the distance, if you want to ruin Bryan's night, go, hey, Bryan, I think I see some heat lightning.
Hey,
get up.
There's few things I can probably count them on two fingers. Maybe Jesus and my family I'm more convicted about than heat lightning not being real. I mean, it is high on the list. Okay, and if you want to argue with me about this, I am here for it. I am totally confident, totally secure in my belief.
I mean, the internet says that it doesn't exist.
This man, I have heard
the internet says that it must be
come out of his mouth. The words that come out of his mouth is like, man, we have got to stop teaching our kids about heat lightning. It's not a thing. It's regular lightning. And I'm like,
hey, I'll hear somebody in my own family say it. I'll hear somebody in my own family say it to my kids, and it's like you would think that they just cuss my kids out the way that I react to it. I don't know, man. This has been going on for a while. I'm kind of known for this in our friend circle and some of the guys we play ball with and stuff. But I'm putting it out there for everybody to see tonight. Okay,
Yep.
heat lightning,
Heat lightning.
is not a thing. It's not real.
And
Stop.
if you say it's real, Brian's bothered by it. Like
He is bothered.
Obviously.
The man, he's bothered. It bothers him almost as much as the rules of Uno. I mean,
Don't, Andy.
Do you imagine?
Let's don't.
Brian's walking around with a cup that's got 4 cubits floating around, and someone walks
Somebody
by and
says,
goes, "Do you see
could
that
you
heat
imagine?
lightning?" He just like crushed the cup.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine somebody handing me a large half and half tea with no ice and looking out and saying, "Oh, was that heat lightning?" I would snap. Just, it would break me. But yeah, no, I'm bothered. I am bothered by people who think heat lightning is real. It is not.
No,
so, there you go.
It's not. And if you think,
I've heard that.
If you think otherwise,
I think it's just Southern slang term for lightning. But it is real.
Don't let this man fool you. I've heard Andy say on multiple times heat lightning.
But nobody like, okay, so when the storm actually gets to us and like bolt of lightning in your yard and the thunder just crashing down behind it, like nobody's saying, "Oh, that was just heat lightning." Nobody's saying that. They're like, "Oh, it's lightning."
Boy, that's super heat lightning right there.
It was just doing what it's doing at your house right now is what it was doing in Bainbridge 15 minutes ago. It's the same storm. It's the same lightning.
It's just lightning.
I love the fact that Brian first hit with Brandon. Have you ever heard of cold lightning? Do you know what cold lightning is?
I ask people that. If you're calling it heat lightning, you're adding a description. I thought we were all on the same page that lightning was hot. I had no idea that we had to say it. You know what I'm saying? So I ask people that. I'm like, all right, heat lightning, that's the thing, huh? Well, show me the cold lightning or show me the cool lightning. Hey, man, get out of here. Good
man,
gracious.
why don't you just strike it cold, boy? Why don't you just strike it cold?
Why don't you just strike me cold?
Why they call them lightning bugs then?
Well, I can't.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
You can bring that up on AJ's heaters. We ain't getting into that.
Yeah. I really, when you first started, and this is something, well, maybe we could talk about this later, but I really thought when you said something about weather, a pet peeve of mine is when people drive in the rain with their hazards on. Drives me
It
bonkers.
Makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes the glares worse.
It's worse.
It's horrible.
One, you're not supposed to do that.
I was fixing to say, first off, isn't it illegal to do it?
It is illegal.
It's illegal. It is illegal. And yet people do it. They're like, well, it's so people can see me driving down the road. We can see you, Susan. Like, put your headlights on. Like, we can see. We don't need you to put your hazards on.
Yeah.
You open up a whole can of worms.
That was not directed at any particular Susan. We love you, Susan.
That was just the first name that popped in my head. But it's like, that drives me. Jesse gets so mad because I get so mad on the road. We're driving somewhere like on the highway and it's raining. And I'm well capable of driving in the rain, know how to do it. And yet there'll be people that will just be driving. Not only will they be driving with their hazards on, they'll be driving 15 miles an hour slower than the posted speed limit sign. It's like, if you are that scared of driving in the rain, pull off the road. Pull off the road.
And then turn your flashers on. Pull off the road, then turn them on. Yeah.
And then when the cop pulls you over and pulls up behind you and asks, "Are you okay? Why are you sitting here with your hazards on?" Get your license out, hand it to him, and so I no longer need this because I'm scared to drive. Like, just stop. Like, all right, I gotta calm down. All right.
I'm telling you,
North
man,
Carolina, Tennessee just went final 6-1. Tennessee win.
6-1.
There you go. Thanks for the relief of pressure there, Andy.
They brought that heat lightning. They brought the heat lightning.
Okay. Nope, we're done. We're done. Thank you, Brian, for another Brian is Bothered. We look forward to another one. And these are, I think, we're starting to feel, I think that they're growing. They're getting.
If anybody has any information out there to prove otherwise, I am open and willing to look at it. But you ain't
going
to find it.
meteorologists that are listening. You want to debate Brian on heat lightning?
You can bring Rob Nicotolo on here if you want to. There ain't no heat lightning. I promise you.
You think
he'd talk about
you can get get him and Asian Saban together and talk about some heat lightning?
Hey,
How'd that would
We
go?
might, we might,
talk about some
we,
heat lightning on the
we might be
podcast.
able to
That'd be
get him.
good.
If I get him to
Yeah.
cover, we'll really put it to bed because people trust that man.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, another Bryan is bothered. Moving forward here in some other news, in the UFC news, UFC 303 is, well, it's still happening, but it's not happening in the way that we wanted it to. McGregor and Chandler have been called off. Conor McGregor has come down with some type of injury, and he wouldn't be able to return in time. It started with the press conference being postponed, and now the fight itself is no longer on. So now you have a light heavyweight fight that will take place in that. And so, but yeah, so what's your guys' initial reactions to the UFC 303 McGregor being called off?
I wonder how much of an injury this really is, or was he just getting more time to train and prepare himself? Because we all know he hasn't been. He's been partying.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I was excited to see him fight again, but I don't think he loves it like he used to.
Man, this guy, I said, Adam, one of my good friends that trains me, we talk a lot of UFC. He loves UFC, and
Does he
I
believe in
told
heat
him
lightning?
early. We haven't talked. I'm sure we'll talk about it now, but I'll make sure he doesn't. We talked about it a lot, and I've been telling him this whole time that I didn't ever think the fight was going to take place in the first place.
Yeah.
Conor, I mean, he's in such a unique position because he ain't fighting for money. And honestly, like there are some sports like golf, for instance, like I could see like Rory McIlroy playing golf to win majors and it not being about the money. I can't really see anybody willingly getting punched in the face and it not being about the money. Like that gets weird for me. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point it's like, that's why I have a lot of respect for like Georges St. Pierre. I mean, he walked away from the UFC in his prime, literally, but dude made so much money and had built his own personal brand. Like he didn't have to get punched in the face anymore. So I kind of feel like Conor's there, and I don't know that we'll ever really see him again. I think there's more to this. Obviously, I think it's really, really weird that nobody is coming out and saying this is the injury, this is the recovery. You know, he's saying I still plan to come back. Dana White is tight-lipped on this thing, which he is all the time ready to run his mouth. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's weird at this point. I think it's kind of back in the mixing pot. We may or may not see Conor again. I don't know, but it's kind of a blow because me, like everybody else, I was looking forward to seeing him fight and getting excited about it. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. If the fight ever does happen, this might be the only one we ever get. But it's like you said, it's like he has no reason to fight. Like he doesn't have to do this. But I don't know. I think he should have. I think he should have ridden off in the sunset a long time ago. But that's just me. But I don't. I think everything changed for Conor after the Floyd Mayweather fight. Like after that happened, and he dabbled back in the UFC for a little bit. I mean, even after that, I think after the Khabib fight, I think it was done. So yeah, UFC 303 is not going to be the same, but it is actually still a pretty decent card. June 29th is when it'll be International Fight Week, and so it'll be, you got Anthony Smith, Carlos Olberg on there, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez, Alex Pereira versus that one crazy dude with a cool ponytail. I'm not even going to try to say his name, but
Yuri.
yeah, Yuri. There you go. That's be a good, maybe still be a good card. So we'll see how International Fight Week go. June 29th. Go check it out. UFC 303. All right. As we wrap up this episode of this podcast today, want to just kind of walk into our plans for the week. We're playing some golf this week. I think we're going to go to, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think we're going to go to, it's my favorite golf course locally, but I think y'all enjoy it as much as I do. Going to head over to Crooked Oak over in Colquitt. That is Miller County, if I am correct on that. So,
Yep.
but we love that course, man. I don't think we've ever been there and a tee box, fairway, or green were out of place. The place looks amazing. The last time we were there a couple weeks ago, it was in tip-top shape. That's probably the best it's ever looked. So I
Immaculate.
am super excited to get back. We got quite a bit of a crowd rolling with us
Yeah.
into this week. So I think the last total count was 8 people. So it's gonna be fun though, and we are just gonna go out, and I think we're all just gonna try to play our own ball. So we'll see how we do. What's your guys' expectations? Let's kind of talk about it in this way. What's your expectations for your own personal game? Like, what are you looking to achieve, Andy, going into our round this
I'm
week?
pretty much just trying to get back to mid 80s, low 80s rounds, man. I've been struggling a little bit out of the tee box. I think I've been getting a little too aggressive with my swing again, and just going to back it down a little bit and get a little more uniform. And I'll see y'all at the finish line, boy. It's coming.
Yeah.
It should be fun though.
I think I'm going to leave driver in the bag again. I hit it a little bit in our scramble format last week. I just don't trust it. And, last time we played Crooked Oak, I didn't pull it at all. And other than a few holes where OB just absolutely destroyed me, I played pretty decent. So I'm going back over there this week, and I'm thinking, again, irons off the tee, stay between the lines, trust my distance. I don't really have a particular number in mind because I've been so sporadic when I'm playing my own ball. I mean, it could be a 115 or it could be a 90. I don't know. But I trust my short game. I trust my putting. I trust my irons as far as being able to get on and around the green and get the ball in the cup. I've got to mentally figure out the tee box and stay between the lines. So that's my focus Wednesday. And I think if I can do it, I think the score will reflect it. That's how I feel about it.
How you feel?
And
How you feel?
well, now that you're asking,
I mean,
I feel like my irons have let me down lately, or they have let me down as of late. I've not been as accurate, and even in the last couple of rounds where we've all kept our own score, and I've been right there at 80, 81, 82. Even in those scores, it's always been the irons that has kept me from creeping into the 70s. If I can, that distance between 150 and 120, which is normally where I am second shot going into a green, especially at Crooked Oak, that just the way that course sets up, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be hitting anywhere from a 9 iron to a gap wedge into the green on almost every par 4. But if I could just get more dialed in, and I heard Bryson DeChambeau say something about Pinehurst, this week at the U.S. Open, and he said the middle of the green never moves. And I thought about that, and I was like, okay, well, maybe that should be my approach, is not being so focused on trying to attack a pin or whatever, but just go for the middle of the green and just kind of hit bigger picture. And so we'll see, but it's not been as much like direction of aiming with the irons and wedges with the full shots. It's really just been ball striking. It's been hitting a good shot. Like, I can get off the tee, I can have short game, and that's what's really been keeping me in with a good score, is that if I do miss a green on my second shot, I can get up and down. Like, I feel confident I can flick a wedge up there and putt well. It's just I can't seem to get every aspect of the game working in unison. So I'm really, if we get there early enough, we get on the range, I'm going to just try to just do something as quick as I can to try to figure out some irons and wedges. But that's going to be my biggest thing. But do you guys have any score predictions for yourself
hold
of
on.
what you think you may or
I
may
got
not
one
shoot?
more question for you before we go, or before we
Okay.
get to that.
Okay.
How you going? How you feeling without that 5-wood? How'd you feel last week without it?
I don't know. So as most of you people know, I did break my 5-wood. However, I took the 5-wood out because it's broken,
Mm-hmm.
and I replaced it back with a 4-iron. So now, kind of up in that upper realm of my clubs, I have driver 3-wood hybrid, and then 4-iron through, all my wedges. So basically, that 5-wood is what replaced my 4-iron. I just love hitting a wood style club instead of a high iron like that. I know you guys have 2 irons, and you guys hit those like on command. Just for some reason, I just don't. I don't like having a long club like that and looking down and seeing an iron head. It gives me anxiety. So, I the last round that we played with this scramble, like I hit the 4-iron I think once, and it's okay. It's super forgiving. So it's not terrible, but we'll see. There's only one hole that I know of that I would use the 5-wood on, and that would be hole number 6, because you kind of at Crooked Oak, you kind of have to hit a short shot to kind of tee off with. So I'm either going to have to hit a hybrid or that 4-iron, and I don't hit that hybrid very well, so I have to figure something out. I don't know. That's going to be the hole where I'm scratching my head. So it depends really too how the first 5 holes go. If I am playing really well and I come off that par 5 with like a birdie or a par, and we're sitting even or 1 over, 2 over, I might get a little aggressive with it and try to do something silly on hole number 6. But if we're like 8, 9 over going to the 6th hole, yeah, I don't know. We might be doing something. I don't know. So, but anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm okay with a 5-wood though. I'm over it. Jessica, I think, is over it. I hope she's over it. But we'll see. So, anybody wants to buy some pink clubs though, I'm looking to buy some new irons. So,
Ah.
anyways, what's your guys' score predictions for what do you think you'll shoot this week?
What I
Trying to
want to
remember
shoot or
what
what I think I'll shoot?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
either one.
Heat
But
lightning or
what
no
do you,
heat
what do
lightning?
Mhm.
It's cloudy
I
or not
think
cloudy?
this ain't going to sound good, but this actually would be pretty big for me mentally playing my own ball. I think I'll be around 90.
It's respectable.
could Bryan break 90 this week?
Dun dun
He's
I'd
done
love
it
to.
dun.
thousands
I'd
of times
love
before.
to. I'd love to.
Yeah.
You know,
Andy, what you think?
there's this guy that we usually play with, and every time we go there, I hear him say it. I'm breaking 80 today. I'm
Are
telling
you going to
you,
break 80?
I'm telling you, I'm breaking it. I'm
Okay.
coming for
Oh, you heard
the
it here
money.
first. You heard it here first. Wow, that would be
That's
huge.
gonna
Here's
be
my
it.
thing is I would celebrate Andy breaking 80 the way I would celebrate myself breaking 80. I hope that if if that ever happens, if one of us ever do it and break 80 while we're all sitting there, because we all know, and Bryan, I'll speak for you here. If Andy were to go out with just me and him and he were to break 80, that's a null and void round. Doesn't count,
Right.
because
And
the
that
four
has
bros
happened
were not.
actually. That has happened actually. And
The four bros were not
yeah,
present. So
right.
yeah. But with you now being there, we'll
I
see
mean,
how it goes.
you had to be trained a little bit, but now I trust you now. Not by yourself, but like
Yeah.
if you and Andy went out and y'all come back and you told me, no, man, I saw it with my own eyes. I mean, I would somewhat believe you.
So yeah. Well, see, that's somewhat those.
I mean,
That's what gets me.
I'm not out here trying to take people's joy away. I just like to see it. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
just want to see
But
it. Just show me.
I would hope that you guys would celebrate, me breaking 80
Oh,
like
yeah,
y'all would break it. Like that's a
yeah.
big thing for
That's
us, because that's
huge.
only probably only going to happen once. So we'll
It's
see. All right.
huge.
So Bryan's trying to break 90, but if he shoots 90, that's a win in his book. Would you say
Mm.
anything, Bryan, anything under 95 you would consider a win?
I'll be honest with you, man. That's why I was kind of hesitant to even put a number out there. What I want to do Wednesday is not hit the ball out of bounds.
Mm.
I
Well,
want
there
to
is
try
some
to
out of bounds there.
get around that track without going OB. That's been my Achilles heel over there, man. They got a lot of that course goes around the edge of the property, And when you when that edge is to your left on literally every hole, and you pull the ball to the left all the time, it's not a good combination.
It's up to you now. What you gonna shoot? What's your number?
So I'll probably think I'll shoot. I would love to say break 80, but man,
Yeah, heard that before.
who knows? Yeah, who knows?
If I
We
par
will.
out the rest of the way,
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. I don't know. I think 85 or lower would be a win for me. So
definitely.
I would
I
consider
think
that a huge win.
that's you and I both. So
Yeah.
we'll go for it.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that was fun. It was a good episode. Like and subscribe, all of you that are listening and watching. Thank you for tuning in and sticking around for this episode of the ForeBros podcast. If you have any suggestions of what you would like for us to talk about, any other banters, debates, feel free to comment on this video. Send us a DM, or just, I don't know, let us know something. Text us, call us. If you have our numbers, let us know what you want us to talk about, debate about. We'd be happy to do it. And fellas, look forward to playing golf with you this week, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll catch everybody in the next episode of the ForeBros podcast. Y'all have a great rest of your week. We'll see you soon. All right.
Peace.
Peace out.